your overall assessment, please, Rohan, first.
Probably a clumsy game, really, all round. But I thought we had enough patches there where we showed enough sort of flow with the ball, and I thought overall our defence was very good, aside from a couple of moments where we were a little disconnected, chasing kicks hard, and the young fullback found a bit of space there a couple of times, but the intent was right. It's just a little disconnected, but other than that, I thought our defence was particularly safe today.
How different was that half-time team talk, given it was only the second time this season you'd been ahead?
No different, really. Like, I think going into half-time in all but one game, felt like the scoreboard may not have been our way, but the actual energy battle and the flow of the game hasn't been that far against us. So today it was probably more, to emphasise not getting too excited about the score, which nobody was. Everyone was very clear about what the intention was going back to start the second half. And the second half started pretty much the same as the first half, with a break conceded from an aggressive kick chase. So tidying up that'll be a focus for this week.
Not without its adversity. How's Aidan Caesar and how disruptive was his loss?
I can't remember what minute he went off, but we did okay while he was off in that HIA, and he passed his HIA. So it was more a choice, just at half time. He had a bump there, like more of a contusion, a real sore spot than any concussion symptoms. So I just made that choice, and I've been very keen to get Ash Hanley an opportunity to play some fullback. Caesar also rolled his ankle a bit when he got that kick pressure situation. He rolled his ankle there a bit as well, so it was just one of those days where I thought we were well positioned to handle it with Tyndall on the bench and being able to make an easy reshuffle. And Ash playing fullback is something that we've practiced a lot, and he's jumped in there a few times when we've had sin bins, but there was an opportunity there, and I thought he did pretty well.
You went with Lasoni from the off and Holroyd off the bench. How did you feel that worked?
I thought it was effective today. We were a little bit clumsy with the ball there early, including Sam at a moment there, and there was 3 or 4 back-to-back errors, which probably made Sam's stint a little more defensive orientated. But I thought he's added some real collision and impact and some moments of skill as well. And then Tom came on. It was a difficult thing. He started 8 games for us and done a really solid job. In some games maybe a bit better than solid, but I just felt it was an opportunity for Sam to have a go there, and an opportunity for Tom to play some more minutes. He's played more minutes off the bench, which quite often happens, because if blokes are going well, I'm not taking them off. So Tom did well. He handled that well and had some real impact.
He was really hard to handle, wasn't he? What did you make of his England call-up, and did you sort of see that lifting him today?
A little bit of a, topsy-turvy week in some ways, because it wasn't a demotion to the bench. I think most coaches will tell you that they use the bench to what they think is most effective for the performance. So I ensured that wasn't the message that I was sending him. It was to give him an opportunity to attack a more tired defensive line, and he did that really effectively. And the England call-up, I think, was certainly warranted. He would be in the top bunch of middle unit English forwards in the competition, I'd imagine. So, I hope he gets a game in a couple of weeks too.
Just lastly from me then, last week you said you weren't great. How would you sort of assess the side as it stands right now after back-to-back home wins?
A much different game today. We're still not great. I don't know if that gets a headline again, but we've got plentiness, and we're probably a better defensive team than we are attacking team at this point in time.
Thanks, bro.
Is Nene McDonald okay?
Yeah, he's okay. just had a bit of general tightness, and obviously he's been through a very hefty workload last weekend. That was a big game for him, work rate wise, short turnaround, bit of general lower body tightness. So, I wasn't taking any risks there.
Similar situation with Harry Newman because he also went off.
Yeah, Harry was, short turnaround again for a guy like him as well, and maybe one too many shady offloads as well. So needs to rein things in a fraction, but he tried really hard tonight, I thought.
You mentioned the short turnaround. Paul Rowley last night said it was like an Easter period for Salford, and it was the same turnaround for you. Was it a challenge?
I think, isn't Easter like usually Friday to Monday?
Yeah, it's a lot shorter.
Well, Sunday to Friday is a very well-worn path for everybody. That's nothing out of the ordinary. That's reasonably common, a 5-day turnaround, so I would have thought. We had a bunch of them last year. I remember we actually went to Toulouse on a Saturday night in 39 degrees on a 16-hour travel to get there, and then travel back the next day took 8 hours. And then we played Wigan at home for the first time in 62 days or whatever that was of away games on a 5-day turnaround. So our players are used to that stuff. It's not without difficulty as well. It's something maybe the game could also consider. We're concerning ourselves with welfare in physical contact and stuff, but do we need to have 5-day turnarounds, or is there a better way with scheduling?
James Bentley not included tonight. Any particular reason why?
He had a groin sort of niggle, tightness, general soreness all the way up until yesterday. And he got through a bit of physio work yesterday and physio controlled running yesterday, and he was quite good, but we were fit. We had plenty of fit forwards, and I was pretty adamant I wanted to carry an outside back on the bench given the short turnaround. So at a real pinch he could have played, but didn't want to risk it. So I made that tough call, and James will be back in the mix for next week.
Speaking of tough calls, there's been a lot of talk about Sam Walters, not being in the side. Some people think he should be in the side. He played well for the reserves. Any comment on that?
I'm not sure who's talking or where that originates from outside of our walls. I speak to Sam all the time, and Sam's playing well, and he's in a difficult situation. He's a good player. He's a Super League player, but sometimes if when your squad's healthy in that position and people are playing at a decent level, it's sometimes hard to get in. He's played a couple of games and done a good job, so when the opportunity comes for him to have a game, I'll be excited about that.
And Morgan Gannon also played in reserves. Will he be considered for next week?
I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Gano did well. He's done a really good block of training in this last 7 weeks. 7 weeks. He's a bit bigger, stronger, growing into his footy brain. He's a very clever player, but giving him a chance to grow his body's number one. We'll check how he pulls up, and hopefully he's available for selection next week and makes our squad a little deeper again.
Rowan, you mentioned about Harry and taking him off, maybe shady offload or two. Is that the best way to manage someone like Harry? Some players need the arm around the shoulder, some need to be...
Nah, it's not. I just told him then. I took him off because the game was, the result of the game was over, and having him available to play next week, given it was a short turnaround. But he did throw a few shady offloads, so... but that wasn't the cause. That wasn't the reason.
Rob, do you think that the boys that got in the England squad, do you think that brought a bit of confidence into going onto the field tonight? I'm talking about Hanley, Holroyd, obviously Nikolai's been part of it, but maybe Holroyd and Harry Newman.
You'd have to speak to those guys, but I think what I love about those guys and a few others as well that maybe could have been selected in that squad, that their priority is Leeds. All they want to do is play for Leeds. And then if it's a bonus to play for England, there's no, I know there's a bunch of players around the competition that they talk a lot about England selection publicly, which I think players should be talking about what can I do for the club more than, getting picked for a one-off test match. These guys are always put Leeds first in their mind, and then, hopefully they earn the right to play for England, and we would support that as well. But yeah, I don't know. As far as confidence goes, I think those guys just love playing for Leeds, so they're not going to make a difference whether they get picked for England or not. They're just going to get out there and do their best.